Welcome back to the Unpolished podcast. I guess this makes it episode 13 now. And as you can tell, sticking with the trend of not being in the home studio, we are with our boy Shane from the Shoe Shine Shack. Very happy to be here. I guess a good place to start is the new space that we're sitting in. So,
yeah, the new space, we got in here about 7 weeks ago now. We're constantly getting comfortable in the space and moving stuff around. You know how it is whenever you get into a new space, you would move this, move that, and make things as efficient as possible. And that's exactly what we're doing. So
trying to get comfortable, eh?
100%, 100%. The space it was a hot dogs restaurant prior to us moving into it.
Did not know that.
Really? You didn't know it was a hot dog?
I kind of figured from the smell of hot dog that's still in here. No, I'm just playing. But
it was a restaurant called Mayday. Mayday Dogs was in here prior, and they did excellent. And then before Mayday was in here was Transcend, which was a coffee shop.
Familiar with that, yeah.
Yeah, so those were the two spots that were before me, and both of those, the coffee shop and the hot dog place, have such mad respect in the city. So I'm so glad that we got to get in here, and we did a little bit of renovations to make it our own, but it's working so good for what we wanted to. It actually surpassed my expectations. I wasn't sure if it was going to work, if it was going to make sense. But once we got in here, I knew it was the right decision that we made.
No, well, it turned out really nice. Like, from seeing the first shop, like, before with Hype Fetish in the same area,
yeah, like,
it's like we were chatting before, it's very almost confined. Like, you guys grew at such a rate that it just, you hit the wall, basically. Like, you needed a new spot, right? You were saying that this needed to come in, so
we had no choice. So whenever we started the business, or whenever I started the business in May 1st, 2018 was my first day in business here in Mercer Warehouse. We started in a 12-foot wide by 15-foot deep bay down in Mercer Market. It was originally called Vacancy Hall, but they switched the name because they thought the Vacancy Hall wasn't a proper name. Saying that it was empty didn't really make sense for marketing purposes.
Empty hall, come through.
Come on through the empty hall. So I ran that for the first year with no running water or anything. Just going to the washroom, grabbing buckets of water and washing shoes, and slowly building from there for the first 12 months. And then I realized that we needed running water. So after the first year, my lease came back up, and I knew it was time to do some renovations because it was something that I wanted to continue doing. So I wanted to install some running water into the space. So the question was, did we install water into a space that we were already outgrowing, or do we grow into a space and then install the water properly so we can actually grow? Yeah. So that was the question. And then with that comes workload and cost and whatnot. So my partner and I were having some discussions. He didn't want me to grow into the bigger bay. I knew that I wanted to, and me being the boss and all, I had the last say. So we ended up we got the double bay, and he'll tell you that to this day he'll say you made the right decision, and I'm sorry that I tried to skew you otherwise. And I think that's important sometimes is to if you truly believe in something, I think that it's very important to follow your heart, because if you don't try, you'll never know. And I could have easily, and that goes for even whenever I started the business. There was a lot of people that told me, maybe I should stick to engineering and not open up a sneaker cleaning business. And you can totally understand why that would make sense. But I stuck with my heart from day one, and I opened up the first shop. I stuck with my heart the second time and expanded. And then, we installed the running water into the second bay. Things started going really, really well, and that's when we met Jared Dave from Hype Fetish. I think you guys did a podcast with him last week.
Recently, yeah. What took you from engineering to this? So I had no idea that was, I suppose, like your origin with your as far as your professional life goes. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, so I took civil engineering in school. I worked in Fort McMurray since 2011. Absolutely loved engineering, loved civil engineering, heavy equipment operating. I did that as well, and my dad is a heavy equipment operator. Um, so what took me away from that would have been the downturn in the oil. You know, everything was booming in 2012, 2014. When I first got to Fort McMurray, I could not believe the money and the
Well, everything was
infrastructure
amazing, yeah.
that was being built. Because I'm from New Brunswick. I'm originally from New Brunswick. I was born and raised in New Brunswick, a small town in Miramichi, 13,000 people, small little hometown. And when I got to Fort McMurray in 2011, I couldn't believe the overpasses being built, bridges being built, tunnels underneath the parts of the roadway.
Money was getting thrown everywhere, and just build it yesterday, like just as fast as you can. Like we were, like
I absolutely couldn't believe it, and it's no surprise, and it's not new news that the price of oil has dropped significantly since
100%
those
it has.
times. It went from a little over $100 a barrel, and then what are we sitting at today? Maybe
that I don't know.
30,
No, just-
35, 40. So what happened is when I was doing civil engineering work, it was project based. So you can imagine a new student getting out of college and having no seniority. So you're really the bottom of the barrel, which
I can relate with that,
makes
yeah.
sense. That's just the way that it works. And I was never sure if I was going to keep the same job, if I was going to be laid off and have to go to another company, which happened a few times. Where was it going to be working? Was it going to be in Fort McMurray? I did get transferred over to Fort St. John, British Columbia as well. So there was all this uncertainty going on, and then as well, I just didn't see a rebound in oil and gas anytime really soon. So about 2017, I got laid off from an engineering project through no fault of my own. I just might as well throw that in there. And working in Fort McMurray since 2011 up until 2017, I did have a little bit of money put away, and nothing crazy, but I did have enough money to pay my rent and possibly open a home-based business if I wanted to. And so at that point there, I was looking for a business to open. I knew I wanted to open a home-based business. I just didn't know what I wanted to do, you know. So I started writing businesses down on paper. One of them was lawn care. Another one was pickup and delivery, maybe long haul trips around Alberta because I had a truck.
Well, that was a big thing back in the boom. Is like hot shotting, right, back and forth. That was a big thing. So
Yeah, but all the businesses that I wrote down, nothing was getting me excited about these businesses. So I sat on it. I didn't execute. I didn't pull the trigger on any of them. And I said, you know what? I think if I just wait, I might think of something that aligns my passions more.
well, because a lot of people, they go head first into it, like the first idea, right, and it might not exactly work very well. Like, you know what I mean? You do have to have that drive behind it, because no business works without it, right? So
100%.
it's good that you actually sat on it. So
100%. I'm so glad that I did. So it would have been November 2017, and it's funny that I remember all these dates, but you know, it's big moments in my life, and I've told these stories before, so that's why I remember these exact dates. You know, so it was November 2017. I just recently went through a breakup. I'm sitting in my apartment. I'm thinking, yo, what am I doing? What am I doing? I'm unemployed. I'm sitting here. I'm single now. Like, you know, you start to feel down on your luck a little bit. So I do yoga quite often. I do yoga probably 5 times a week.
A lot of mindfulness to bring you back to earth sometimes, hey?
Well, you know, if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend.
No,
you try
I'm
it.
agreeing with you. I'm just saying, like, the whole mindfulness thing can definitely be beneficial. So I'm not surprised that that's where you might have found some of your ideas, right?
Exactly. So what happened was I did some yoga and I laid down in bed and feeling kind of down on my luck or whatever you want to call it. I started going through my to-do list, and one of the items on my to-do list was to wash all of my shoes back to new. Okay, that was one of the items on my to-do list of about 10 items. And I started thinking about that one task, you know, like how long is that going to take me? I got to take all the laces off the insoles out, wash every component. Where am I going to dry them? You know, how difficult is that? And, you know, I've always washed my shoes up, but I wanted to do a full restoration because I had the time, and I wanted them to look.
You're laid off. You might not be able to buy some new shoes. I don't know.
So it hit me like a wall of energy, to the point that I got goosebumps all up my arms. And right there, I thought
it clicked.
It clicked, and I knew that they didn't have this in Edmonton, but I didn't research how many of these businesses were in Canada and how many of them were in the United States. So when I started researching, you know, I was getting so excited because I knew that they had it in Los Angeles and New York and a bunch of states in the United States. They had it in the United States, but in Canada we didn't have it yet.
Yeah.
You know, so I grabbed my notebook beside my bed and I wrote the Shoe Shine Shack and I circled it. And I still got that book.
Just like that?
I still got that book, and my pen just started going. And what I was writing down was every single task that needed to be done to open up a successful home-based sneaker cleaning business. And my pen just kept going. It was the first name that I thought of almost instantly when I thought of the idea. It hasn't changed. The only thing that's changed is we dropped the. Now it's just Shoe Shine Shack. We wanted to make it a little bit shorter. The next morning I woke up. I remember running from my apartment on 104th Street and 104th Ave across the road here. Right across the road. You can see it if you step outside of Mercer. I was running to Edmonton Tower, which is just east of us. Running, not jogging, like fucking full on sprinting to register the name. And I remember saying to the ladies there, "Is that a good name? Is that a good business?" I said, "That's a good business, isn't it?" And they're looking
like,
at me
somebody please validate this because I need this.
They're looking at me like I'm crazy.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And when I told my parents the same thing, they thought it was crazy. They're like, "Yo, like, you have an engineering degree. What the heck do you think
that's
you're
the
doing?"
thing is right when you said engineering, it kind of just it took me there for like as a surprise, right? Because I hear engineering, I'm like, okay, how do you go from engineering to doing this? And it's interesting how, I mean, it's not a new thing that when people are, if you want to call it down on your luck, maybe people who are depressed, maybe people who are whatever negativity, and they always say that routine and like task, right? Like how the military, you're supposed to wake up, make your bed, do this, and that's how you start your day. So
100%.
it's interesting how, you know, that clicks for you. It just shows that it goes to show that it works, right? Because it clicks for you, and all of a sudden would you think you're running down the street with a new name for the Shoe Shine Shack, and 2 seconds ago, or sorry, like maybe 2 months ago, you're being laid off from a completely different industry. It's pretty incredible.
100%.
So anyways, I'm just trying to say that I'm not surprised that you were that excited, right, when it clicked for you. So.
Yeah, I definitely was excited. And the thing was, I didn't expect to open up a store. You know, whenever I first started, it wasn't written on that brainstorm to open up a store. It was just to open a home-based business.
So just run it out of your little apartment, like
run it out of my apartment. That I just wanted to check everything off the list. I think I was just bored.
Well,
and all I was doing at 25 was going to the gym and going to the bar. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not in school anymore, so I wasn't really learning. So I said, you know, if I open a business, that's going to challenge me to learn about business a little bit and kind of get a little bit of a struggle. You know, I want to struggle.
Well,
a little
it's
bit.
it's not that easy as just like getting a name and doing it. Like, there's so much more behind it. As well, yeah. My experience as well is just there's a lot more to it than just the name, right? Because a lot of people, like, you see, like, especially now, like a lot of businesses are opening up, and then people are really soon finding out that it's not as easy as you think it is. Just open the door and start collecting money. There's a lot of behind the hours, because like you've mentioned before, you're working a lot of hours, right? It's not just like the 9 to 5 kind of.
I haven't taken many days off in the last 3 years.
And you're probably completely fine with that from this aspect of the business, because it's going.
Yes
right?
and no. Yes and no. You know, everything's up for debate. At the end of the day, last year, 2020. I think I took about 4 days off, and then I don't recommend that to anybody, to be working that amount of time.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it just at some points you got to look at it as when I was working in Fort McMurray, I was up at 5 a.m. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now with Shoe Shine Shack, I'm not. And that doesn't mean that I can't be.
There's pros and cons there.
But I'm not up that early, you know what I mean? So I get to sleep in a little bit more. Also, it's a little bit addicting whenever it's your own baby, it's your own business, and the more that you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it.
100%. I was
You
just
guys
about
know
to say
about
that.
Starting up this podcast.
Yeah,
You guys
yeah.
did a podcast yesterday with Posh. You're here again doing a podcast the next day. You guys could took a day off, but you guys didn't want to take a day off. You
I know, no time.
do
no
another
time.
episode. You guys totally understand that. I know you do.
One thing that I wanted to bring up is how I actually found out about this the Shoe Shine track. It was weird because you know how like everyone says your phone's listening to you,
Okay.
right? You know how they're like,
Yeah.
you talk about something, all of a sudden it's on IG, it's on Facebook, and you see it. And I remember, I believe I was talking to you and a couple other friends about a company in I think it was Los Angeles that like, yeah,
Jason and Mark, yeah.
that starts like shoe cleaning, right? And I'm like, man, like I wish we had that here in Edmonton. Like it's such like everyone's like, there's nothing in Edmonton, and I'm like, there's nothing here to do. Like I would totally take in shoes.
Yeah.
I'm on Facebook late, like literally 2 hours later, and it was this lady doing an interview about local businesses, and it came with you. I'm like, oh my god! I think the following Monday I showed up, and I'm like, I need these cleaned, and then I ended up talking to you and finding this out. So
I love that.
It's funny you say that because I remember that because I remember when you were in the hype fetish spot and we first came in because we were picking up shoes. And that's how I found out about this was through you. So it's kind of interesting how your FBI agent must have been listening to your phone. And
It's funny because
Worked it
today I
out.
was talking to a client about producing our product line. Surprise, we're getting a product line made. But I was talking to a customer about getting our product line made, and I said sneaker cleaners and sneaker soaps, and on top of that I just bought a new dog. And then I go onto my social media to go into Instagram, and there's a company that they're promoting their sneaker cleaner to me, and then I swiped, and the next photo is the dog with the sneaker cleaner. I'm like, yo, they're getting too good. How,
Shit's real.
How?
Shit's
how,
real.
How? Like the sneaker cleaner and the dog? Like, well, that's fucked. Yeah.
so I'm assuming you don't have a Google Home set up in every room in the house now.
I have a lot of Apple products, so I don't know what they're doing with Apple. But
Okay,
I have
fair.
a lot of Apple products.
I think they're all listening to us, and
Guarantee. Welcome to the podcast.
and if you're listening to us, we love you, and we have nothing against you. And
come
please-
support our businesses.
Please don't hurt us. Interesting. So, I'm just curious. I'm not too sure if it is or isn't an influence in this business, but how did Hype Fetish influence the business? Because I know you guys were close, I suppose, business partners for a little while there. So, how did that come about, and how did that help you help each other more or less?
So whenever I built out the second store, so the original store was 12 feet wide by 15 feet deep. That's the size of the bays down the hallway. So we doubled, we leased the one beside us. So
Yeah.
now we're at 24 feet by 15 feet. So whenever we moved into there, or whenever we expanded, I did feel like the space was a little bit big for us. You know what I mean?
Really, eh?
Yeah, it did. Right off the bat, doubling the space. I'm like, whoa, this space is too big. Whoa, let's go back to the small one. Not really, but it did have a section of the store that was sitting just a little bit dormant, and that's where Hype Fetish, that's where Jared Day moved into. I didn't know Jared Day prior to him moving in. A lot of people ask us, yo, you guys are in business together. We've never been...
I know maybe long time.
We've never been longtime
That's what I
friends.
thought too,
We
yeah.
only met after I expanded into that double bay, and we've never been business partners. All that I've done was lease a wall out to him, and then I made the mistake of not asking his inventory count because I didn't. Some young guy comes and he says, hey, I want to lease a little bit of space. I saw some shoes. I have an interview with him, or we have a little bit of a chat. We have a second chat, and then the third time we meet, he's moving into my store. I just didn't know on what scale he was going to do it. And I tell you, when he kept on bringing boxes and boxes and boxes down the stairs, I said, yo, I fucked up.
well, Matt, like just from
Fucked up. That's the first thing I thought. I'm like, yo, this is too much. You know, and
Well,
and we laugh about that to this day, me and Jared. But their first day open, I felt like my store was taken over.
to be honest, when I first walked in there to like drop off my shoes, I'm like, this is a perfect thing because like the hype fetish, to me, the main thing is shoes from them, right?
Yeah.
And you clean shoes and maintain shoes, right?
Yeah.
And those things go hand in hand. And I'm like, man, this
Yeah.
is perfect because one feeds off the other. That's how I ended
Yeah.
up finding hype fetish is through you because I'm like, okay, it's right here. Like I love, to me, purchasing things in front of me, I love way more than online or like
100%.
That's to me, it's just I've buy most of my stuff through there, but I love seeing that fact because it worked out. Because Jared does a lot of numbers, man. Like he on everything. Like he's always like, I'm buying more stuff. I'm like, man, you just finished. If you go through his Instagram, his stories, just he'll have like 40 boxes. He's like, I need more, and I'm like, man, you got tons. Like, but
Yeah, 100%, 100%.
It's the whole thing about not being content, right? So
Exactly. You always want to grow. You always want to do more, right? It's like anybody.
so have you found like what's the biggest benefit do you think of being in this new space?
The biggest benefit would be being away from Jared Day. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Jared, if you're watching, man, I don't know. I'm sorry. We didn't know the beef. We didn't know this beef prior.
Yo, he's in here every single day. I love Jared.
Shout out Jared. Jared's a great
Shout out
fucking guy.
The biggest benefit would be we have window now, which is a great benefit.
Natural light. There you go.
We've doubled our dirty shoe storage. So I'll explain it to you. So there's 3 stages of the shoes whenever they're in Shoe Shine Shack. There's dirty, there's cleaned, and then there's finished. And we've doubled, in some case tripled, in each one of those storage capacities. So that's huge for us. We're now a concrete tenant in Mercer Warehouse. You know, we've been here May 1st, 2021 will be 3 years that we're already in this building. And so now we're a concrete tenant, the same as Weekly Hair Salon, the same as Mercer Tavern, the same as Bijou. We're a concrete tenant.
how was day one of that? Was that pretty nerve wracking? Where you're like, this is where we're like, you're in here for a long time. Was that?
No, it was more nerve-wracking opening in Vacancy Hall,
Yeah.
just because I had no experience. But now we're able to get a sign onto the building. So we have a sign being developed right now. We're actually
That's
going to
gonna
have
be
a
nice
Shoe
to
Shine
see.
Shack sign on the building, which is super, super cool. So whenever you drive past the building, we don't only have a sandwich board sign. We'll actually have a sign on the building, which is fucking dope.
It's not just Trace Carnalis now. It's
There's a lot of signs on the building. You know, I was talking to management, and they're
you're like, where's mine?
they're particular with where things go and whatnot. So I'm so excited to get our sign on the building eventually. But at the end of the day, there's just so many benefits. I could keep going, and I don't want to bore you with benefits for moving into this new place. But look at what we're doing right now. We would have never had the opportunity in the small space to be doing this. Now when customers come into the shop, if you want to take a seat and take a load off on the couch and you want to flick through Netflix, by all means, the remote's beside you. Shoe Shine Chair, it's wide open. We're selling beverages now. We have more room in the back. We have a higher ceiling. Everything looks better. We're closer to the street. Like the list goes on of benefits. And
Seems like all pros. Like they're all.
the only con is that I'm paying more per month.
There. You got to have something, right? So that's one thing that I've like bringing in my shoes. I never knew how much actually goes into cleaning the shoe, right? Because I don't know too much about it. I thought it was just a quick like wash and done. But like from what I've seen and what you've told me, there's so much more that needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And I'm like the space is probably what you would need the most, right? Because there's a lot of stages like you just mentioned to it. So
yeah, 100%. And the big thing with us is we have to stay organized. So we have, I don't know how many shoes we have up in the front here right now, maybe 35, 40, and then in the back we have 40, 50. There's a lot of insoles flying around and laces flying around and shoe tags and lace tags and all that stuff. So it's very important for us to stay organized. And in our last store before we expand it, we were at max capacity. There's definitely a point that you can outgrow your store or your systems, and that's exactly what we were doing. So I remember a couple times in our previous store where we were down the hallway in Mercer Market, almost feeling a little bit nervous when customers were coming in with, sometimes people drop off one shoe or two shoes. Some people I had a lady drop off 26 items,
She just wants the closet done.
Yo, some people, like, I have some people that will drop off 8 per week. You know what I mean? So when you're getting almost nervous whenever customers are bringing you business, that's not a good position to be in. You want to be you want to be happy when people come through the door. You want to be
confidence, right? Like when somebody brings that much in, like
you want to be thanking them, and they
exactly.
can feel that.
And you're the spot. So
but if
where else are they gonna go?
I remember, like I said, down the hallway whenever people come through the door, and I was like trying to hide, where are we gonna put these shoes? Because we had to get another space in another store. You know what I mean? We had to get a space in this building, other than our store, because we just had no space left. And then at that point, there was 2 decisions. It was either we close down the business or we expand, because what we were doing just wasn't making sense at that point. We really maxed out the amount of shelving and storage space that we had. So I'm looking forward to running out of space in this new spot.
Yeah, fair enough. It'll take a lot, but I can see you doing that. I guess, like, what's something you wish you knew then before? Like, what would present day Shane tell past Shane starting out?
Whoa, that's a good question.
Hard-hitting question.
That's a really good question.
I'll put the Jeopardy music in if you need a second.
Don't, please. I'm trying to come up with a good answer.
No, it's okay. There's no right answers. It's all good.
No, but there's definitely...
Or if there's multiple, go off.
100%. So I would have researched more about help that the government is willing to give young new entrepreneurs. And what I mean by that is, before I started Shoeshine Shack, I was getting unemployment at the top rate that you can get unemployment because of the job that I was working prior. And when I started Shoeshine Shack, I worked all month, and I made much less than I did sitting my ass doing nothing, getting paid by the government.
See, then that, yeah.
And I remember being so shocked that I worked all month, and I paid rent, and I bought products, and I made way less. And I said, what's the point?
Yeah. Well, yeah, like you see a lot of people, then that's their job, is just EI, is just straight up hanging out at home and not.
I thought to myself, I was like, yo, what's the point? Why would anybody do this? Why would anybody work and invest all this money when they can sit on their butt and get, I think it's $1,000 every 2 weeks is what you get on unemployment if you have top stamp. So that was something, and I just had to do a little bit of research, but I didn't, and contact the right people within government and let them know, say, hey, I'm starting this new business. There are programs out there that they will pay you to plan your business out, and they will continue to pay you. It's almost like you're going to school. You go to classes, and you sit there and you plan your business, and you plan your business, and you plan your business, and you're getting paid. I would have continued to get paid my unemployment, so I would have got paid more money. I would have been planning my business, and then when I would have pulled the trigger, I would have had a stronger business and more money in the bank.
See, that I never knew that, and that's
and you won't know until you get in that position, and then you're saying to yourself, "Oh, I'm a dumbass," because you didn't know. But how are you supposed to know? You don't know all the rules.
And that's coming into light, especially with the challenging times we have right now. Is that's coming into the spotlight, like pushing like all these homegrown businesses. You know what I mean? Like these little everyone. Yeah. So a lot more focus is going into that, because a lot of these things, like you're a prime example, just take off and do great numbers, right? So it's great to see that there's actually I've never known that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. So I guess to continue with maybe some heavy hitting questions here, who do you feel has been like the most influential to you, or like the most supportive? Because obviously, at the end of the day, maybe it sounds a little savage. At the end of the day, it is just, it's just you. Like at the end of the day, it's on you, and you're responsible for the business. But
100%. I do have a team, but at the end of the day, if this collapses, it's
from day one. Do you have someone in mind that like has from day one been supportive of you, or an influence positively or negatively, possibly?
My partner Lisandro helped me out since day one. I met him in my store. He walked in and we were talking online and whatnot, and he ended up coming in and that's how I ended up meeting him, was in my store. And then from there we started dating and all this stuff, and we've been together kind of ever since. So he's helped me out a lot. My parents, after they started getting the vibe and started after they started understanding what I was doing and my vision, they went from being skeptical to my biggest supporters. My mom shared my stuff today on her social media.
That's a win. That's a win.
Yo, mom, shout out mom. Shout out Joanne. Yo. So that's that. But myself, I was the one that researched and put in the time. So I want to say shout out to myself for never giving up and believing in myself. You know,
that's
so
a huge thing.
Sometimes you gotta thank yourself, because whenever you ask that question first, the first person that popped in my mind was myself, and I didn't want to be conceited and say myself first. I said, okay, my partner and my parents, but at the end of the day, like, I could have been doing anything else, you know, whether that's going out and partying or traveling or anything, but I decided to try to make a business for myself, to be able to have some sort of stability and some sort of at-homeness, where I'm not traveling around from city to city, province to province, doing these different projects that I don't necessarily want to do. One of the main reasons why I opened up business was to meet cool people like you guys. Straight up, to meet cool people, cool experiences. It was never about the money. It was about living a better life than working in gas and oil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not necessarily liking what you're doing. You're making kind of good money. In the grand scheme of things, you're still getting paid peanuts.
Oh.
It was about the experiences, and I knew if I could rock an awesome business and make the right connections, that the money eventually would come. You know?
That's a huge thing with, like you're saying, believing in yourself, because at the end of the day, it's just you, or at the beginning it was just you, right? Yeah. You have no one to bounce ideas off. Like, am I doing the right thing? Like, do you see this going anywhere? Right? That's the biggest mind battle. Like, should I keep on going? Because nobody has the answer, right? But like, it's nice to see that, like, you see the light at the end of the tunnel, and look where you are now. Like, you probably wouldn't imagine you going this big so fast, right? Because this has been a very small time frame. So.
Because exactly, like I said, I didn't expect to open up a store at all, but it was just after that brainstorm that I made, that I was telling you guys about. I made that brainstorm. Once I checked every single thing off that brainstorm, the question was, what now? You know, what do we do now? What do I do now?
And sorry, correct me if I'm wrong. You also met the person you're in a relationship with. The person that you're in a relationship with now, you met through the business, correct?
Correct.
That wouldn't have happened.
And another thing that's kind of crazy too, and I'll just bring that up. Remember when Fort McMurray burnt down, and it was catastrophic, and 120,000 people got
relocated,
more
or less. Yeah.
If that didn't happen, we wouldn't be here right now, and Shoe Shine Shack would not be created.
So, was that the main reason why you were laid off?
Well, I relocated from Fort McMurray to Edmonton because I was living in Fort McMurray.
Okay, there we go. Now it's all come full circle.
So So at the end of the day, whenever certain things seems like
catastrophic,
it's tearing your life apart and you can't believe that this shit's happening, but whenever good things come out of it, you have to look back and say, damn, if that thing in my life didn't happen that I thought at the time was so bad and I was shedding tears over it and stuff like that, but then if you can appreciate where you're at now, which I do, I appreciate being here with you guys right now. I appreciate my business. I love that. I love what I do. If I could work on shoes 24 hours a day, I would, but I need sleep. Yo, I just woke up like an hour ago.
Fair.
If that didn't happen, we wouldn't be here. So that's crazy to think that sometimes the scariest shit, the most fucked up stuff, is actually guiding us in the right direction.
Well, you're living proof of it. Like you're in a position where, and this is all things I definitely didn't know. Like you're in a position where you're obviously relocated from your home, your job's on the line, your whole career-wise, and you invested how much time into engineering. And I don't think any education is bad education, so there's still value in that, and
100%.
it brought you value in your life. But
I need to learn more. I'm not educated enough.
Fair enough.
My cousin asked me this question.
That's why I say education's not a bad thing. You always need it, right?
Exactly. I have a cousin in Moncton, New Brunswick, and he asked me. He said, "Do you regret taking engineering? Do you regret taking civil engineering?" And I told him, I said, "I need to know more than I know now. If anything, all that engineering did was give me a little bit of a platform." Or give me a little bit of a foundation to realize, if you put your mind to something, that you can make it happen. Never regret taking schooling. If you take schooling, let's say you take business and you don't go in business, or let's say you take any sort of schooling and you don't follow through with that, never look at that as a waste of time.
No,
Because all that did was stretch you and show you, I can figure that out.
Yeah, no, that's a great point to make on that. But do you want to talk about what you have on the table here? You said that you have a product line kind of coming out. Did you want to share with what you have here on the table?
Sure. So I'm working with the designer. My partner and I found a great designer. Shout out to Gabriel. So this here, I'm not sure if you guys can see on the video, but if you can, this is a dress shoelace. So they're a little bit thinner, they're a little bit shorter, So we designed 2 shoelace packaging. As you can see, we have all the lengths here. We have our design here. This would be the Shoe Shine Check Triple S. These are actually S's if you turn it that way. I'm not sure if you guys knew that or not. So this would be the dress shoelace packaging, which I'm so proud of. Gabriel designed this for us. I didn't have much say besides approving it. And then this here, we had a completely different shoelace packaging design that we were just about to put out to production, and it was very similar to what was on the market. And I remember a couple months back being in the shower. It's so weird that I remember exact details, but I was in the shower and something clicked to me. Like when you go to the dollar store and you buy chalk that was in a box. Yeah. That pack of cigarettes, it was something going on I'm like, all natural, no plastics.
Yeah.
This, you know what I mean? It just clicked on me. I was like,
looks like a box of crayons.
It looks like a box of crayons or a pack of cigarettes or fucking chalk or something, I don't know what hit me. I jumped out of the shower. I grabbed my sketch.
I tell you, that's the first thing I thought. If it was multicolored right now.
Dude, I love that. I never thought a box of crayons, but I'm gonna be using that from now on. I'm gonna be using that from now on. I jumped out of the shower and then I drew a front-on sketch, a 3D sketch, an aerial sketch, again from engineering. All these, 100%. So I drew these out, and I was confident with it right off the bat. I showed my partner, Lisandro. He enjoyed it. He liked it. Yeah. The next day I showed my staff. I said, what do you guys think of this? They liked it. I sent it to the designer. He liked it. We scrapped, we scrapped what was just about to go in production. We scrapped it. And I FaceTimed him a couple days later, and he had this in his hand, and he didn't tell me, but we FaceTimed. He said, look at this. I said, what the fuck? Like, how do you have that? How did you already make that? You're a magician. So we got that made, and right now we're in the process of expanding our shoelace line. We're supplying all sorts of styles of shoelaces and different colors and different lengths and whatnot. And we're going to try to make it as simple as possible to find a pair of shoelace for your footwear. Because on the market, let me tell you, it's not that easy to find custom shoelaces, whether that's, you can imagine any color in the rainbow, white, black, or again, any color in the rainbow, different styles. It's not easy to find that. So what we're trying to do is we're trying to simplify it as much as we can. If you need a shoelace in any color and any style and any length, we're going to be able to supply that to you at a really, really, really good price. So that's one of our main focuses right now. And then along with what you said as well, a product line, we have a whole skew of different products that we're in the process of developing right now, and that's going to be coming a little bit coming a little bit farther down in 2021.
Fair enough. So definitely making waves. Like if you're you're coming out with your product line, you're in the new space. As far as like the laces as well, what else is next for Shoe Shine Shack, do you think? Or
Easy.
is that where you're that's what I mean, is this the focus, or like do you have a big picture in mind, or are you somebody more like task oriented, like you want to get this done and then think about your next best thing? Or do you have like a vision for this that you want to share?
There's monthly goals and quarterly goals and yearly goals. There's the goals that I want to achieve by the end of 2021 that are written down, and I truly believe that they will get done. There's no second location in 2021 because I don't think that the timing makes sense, and I don't want to be stressing myself out or my staff out that much.
Doubling up once you're just from what I understand, it sounds like you're getting more comfortable in this space, and then
100%.
You don't want to turn that into turmoil
100%
right off the bat.
So for the rest of 2021 would be getting the product line out to market, doing much more e-commerce. With the whole COVID thing, it's so hard because we do Shoe Shine events as well. So that Shoe Shine chair that's over there.
Did not know that.
We do Shoe Shine events. We were supposed to get flown to Moncton, New Brunswick last May by the Angus Beef Association. We're pretty close with them. We've done an event in Calgary for them and Drumheller, and they really love us. So that's something that's completely on hold right now as well. So for 2021, getting the product line out, getting comfortable in here, keeping things going, keeping our sanity, working on ourselves mentally, physically. I think that's really for 2021. But 2022, you can expect to see another location of Shoe Shine Shack locally in Edmonton.
Stay tuned.
And, I'm already having conversations with people in different provinces that want to open up locations. I'm just trying to get them to slow down and let me figure out what I need to, which is the product line and all that fun stuff, prior to pulling the trigger on opening different locations across Canada, because there actually is quite a bit of demand already without even looking for that.
That leads into my question that I have right now is like, for me, like I'm just one person, but like how do you find like the feedback's been through the community? Because a lot of people, like, to them shoes are just put them on and just once they're done, they're finished, right? And there's other people that care a lot about their shoes, like the whole community with like Hype Fetish and shoe collectors. Like, how has the response been like here in Edmonton? Anyways, like obviously you've done really well, but just thought you could expand on that.
Yeah, we have return customers. We have new customers all the time. What I tell to customers that I feel like I can tell to, I often ask for feedback and constructive criticism. Like I said, as long as I feel comfortable with that individual with asking that question. I love being proved wrong. I think
Fair.
I think that there is such knowledge in being proved wrong, or if you have an alternative opinion, well, I would like to hear it, and then maybe we can talk about why you think that and why my opinion is skewed from that. We've had very, very good feedback. If you check on Google, we have a pretty good Google rating. I think we have 5 stars out of 50 reviews that I'm very, very proud of. But yeah, things are going great. And like I said, if I say this to people all the time, if you have any issues with anything, come let me know, because I want to be the first to know, because I want to know where we fucked up and where we can get better. It's not about being perfect, and a lot of people want to be perfect, and even myself, we always strive for this level of quality that sometimes is insufficient. But even, let's go back to my engineering. in engineering, you often shoot for a 96, 98%. You'll never hear engineers calling for 100% because 100% is perfect. So it's always the 96 to 98, and that's what I tell my staff here as well. Whenever we're detailing a shoe, we're trying to get it to that number. And then a lot of people that come through that say that they throw their shoes in washing machines. If you throw your shoe in a washing machine, you might be getting 70%, 75% of your shoe back to new, when we're really trying to thrive to get to like the 96, 98%.
Yeah, that's really interesting though with the whole, I guess with the whole COVID thing. I mean, we don't really have to expand on that. We all know, we all know what's going on. So, sorry.
I just said fuck COVID.
Oh, I thought I missed something here. I was like, wait, what did I miss? Just fucking headphones. Sorry. Fuck COVID. That's facts. That's all we need to know about it. Honestly, we all know what's going on.
Is it too much?
I just really respect. I just want to say I just really respect that you're still interested in your product lines and expanding. While some people might just be paranoid on staying afloat, which is I guess it's different strokes across the board, but. I just like that these, I'll just call it trying times, aren't getting you down too much.
Never.
Yeah. So even though it's been thrown at you,
there's help out there. If you want a mentor, there's mentors out there. If you want money, there's money out there. If you want to play it safe, you can play it safe. No one's going to judge you. Well, maybe some people judge you, but at the end of the day, it's what you want to put into it and where you want to put your time and energy. Do you want to put your time and energy scrolling on social media and look what other people are doing? Or do you just kind of want to be doing your own thing, working hard on yourself, and then slowly just releasing to people, this is kind of what I'm doing. And that's what I feel like I try to do. I don't like to release too much until I have things that are executed. And I do think it's fun. And then also having a purpose, waking up every day and having a purpose has definitely done lots for my mental health, because I've struggled with mental health many years of my life. And that's, again, one of the main reasons why I opened up a business, was to meet awesome people, become a better person, learn about business, and then eventually, maybe make a little bit of money.
Yeah. And sounds like it's just something more like personally gratifying to you rather than financially, and the financials come once you put that work in. So
100%.
Yeah, but guess we're getting to our time limit here.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's how time flies.
Crazy.
We don't want to bore everyone too much, but
speak for yourself.
Yeah, fair enough. But yeah, I just want to say thank you so much again for coming on. Loved having you. We're definitely gonna have to do something like this again.
I appreciate it so much. I appreciate it. Anytime you guys want to come down and chat, I'm totally open. Whether cameras on, cameras off, you guys are always welcome here. I appreciate you guys so much.
So where can everyone find you on social media or get in touch?
Yeah, so Instagram is at the Shoe Shine Shack. We weren't able to switch our handle, so the is still in there. So at the Shoe Shine Shack for Instagram. Facebook, you can just look up the Shoe Shine Shack. You'll find us there. Website, shoeshineshack.ca. If you want to send me an email, it's going to be shane@shoeshineshack.ca. Phone number 780-236-5428. And if you want to come down to our store, it's in Edmonton, Alberta, on the corner of 104th Avenue, 104th Street and Mercer Warehouse. We're downstairs underneath Bijou and Rusty's Autos, across from Weekly Hair Salon, and it's the first door on the left. You won't be able to miss us.
Lovely. We'll tag all that in the bio as well, just in case you didn't catch that, because I don't even know if I caught all that, but I love it. As far as we go, we'll be trying to stick to some weekly uploads coming up here, just because just with everything going on, it's been really hard for us to get together and get these things going. But with things relatively calm, so to speak, we can put out a little more content and hopefully keeps going in that direction. Any last words for the viewers here? Something inspirational, since that's what we're going for today.
I love that.
And you give that to me. You give that to me. My God. Like Shane mentioned, like we have our own to-do list, so we're gonna try to knock out some of those things. A lot of it's been put on pause, but definitely some big things coming up. Also, everyone just send us a DM if you ever wanted to be on a podcast or have any ideas. So yeah, let us know and catch you on the next one.
I was definitely going to bring that up briefly. Just if anyone is interested in doing something like this, we're definitely open to working with people, which is kind of our narrative at the moment. We've been trying to get together with a lot of people in the city, so shoot us a DM for sure, and just stay tuned for more. So
I love it.
And thanks again.
Thank you for coming by. I really appreciate it.
Of course. Anyways, as I gotta say, like the video, comment on the video, subscribe for more. It doesn't put any fucking dollars in our pockets, but it
soon will.
It motivates us, but it will. But it will, and that's.
And I'm gonna hook you guys up with a Shoeshine Shack T-shirt too, just because you guys came down and did this. I want to give you guys both this T-shirt, whether it's in white or gray. Yo, I'm gonna hook you guys up with that because I appreciate you guys coming down here and doing this so much. So
we got that
thank
drip.
you guys, I appreciate it.
We finally got some drip. We can just quit the podcast now.
You're gonna retire.
We got some. We can retire on this. We're gonna resell that and retire. Anyways, stay tuned for more and peace out.